Hi everyone, welcome back to Nestling's 2023 Introduction to Embroidery Calendar Series. It is December. We've made it through a whole year of embroidery, and this is our final little block that I want to show to you. This is a poinsettia that I've used in lots of designs, and for December I decided to change it up a bit. So we have back stitching in here, we have outline stitch, we have our French knots, more outline stitch, more back stitch, and look at how much dimension and fun it gives this block. So just remember, you don't have to stick with the same stitch in one design across all of them. Even though I still prefer my outline stitch, this was a lot of fun to do. As we wrap up the year, I want to talk a little bit about different ways to finish up and or display. Now, I know as we went through the year, each month I gave you an idea of some of the ways you could use the blocks. I mean, back in January, we turned the snowflake into a little ornament with a beaded hang on it, and it was darling. And there are so many other things you can do. And so I haven't really finished any of mine from the year because I'm not quite sure where I want them to go yet. So if you remember, I showed this one before, and then as I was playing in my fabric, I found this lovely blue, teal blue, that really matches the blue that I used in here. And so I'm thinking this will be my edging, my border for it. I probably will add a border, but I will also want to add some fun other little things like I do in other small quilts. And don't forget, Ackfeld Manufacturing has a wonderful selection of little miniature hangers that you can use. That little tulip one I just showed you will fit perfectly on this one. And it's just a little wooden dowel with a little wire design. So this little miniature here is probably 12 inches by 12 inches. It's not very big, just little pieced blocks that I had. I'd used some scraps. I was part of a sew-along group. But what I want to focus on is edge finishes. So this just has a really plain, simple border on it. But then I added these little flanges right at the corners and just one little circle, just enough to give it a little something else. And so that tulip piece with that blue border, it'll be real easy to go back in and add just a little pop of orange at the corner, which I think will be a lot of fun. Other hanging ideas, and also as we segue into discuss finishing. So these are these little hangers from Tim Holtz. I adore them. And I've put some on order, so this next year I should have some on my website even. And as soon as they are, I will let you know via the newsletter that they are out and you'll be able to purchase some of them. This is just the 4-inch block from March done on a little hanger, and it can just adorn any little spot in the room. It hangs on anything. And as we talk about finishing, I want to talk again about, I think a lot of people, they look at their embroidery and they feel like they have to go around everything. All I did on this one was go straight through it. I chose a thread that matches my background so that it becomes secondary to the embroidery. I want the embroidery to show more than the quilting on this one. And so if you put multiple blocks together and this is how you decide to finish it, you could do a wave design through the whole entire piece. Here is an embroidery piece that I found at an antique shop, and I decided to finish it. So the embroidery was already done. All I needed to do was put a binding on it and quilt it. And so for the quilting, very classic, crosshatch. Now, admittedly, I hand quilted this one, so I was able to go in and under where the embroidery was, but it would not have taken away from it if I had gone right over it, because again, I left the stitching to match the background. Here is another embroidery piece. This is a pattern of mine, Claudia Trio. It's on the website, and this was machine quilted. Again, I chose a thread that matches the background. I think this was a really lightly variegated, which I loved. And I was able to just quilt right up right up to the line. And then I put one bit inside to make sure we had enough even quilting to hold it. But I didn't do tons of quilting on this, just enough to finish it. You don't have to go crazy. Here is my seahorse pattern. This is also on my website. And on the machine quilting on this, again, matched the background. I did not go over the lines on this. I either stayed within the lines or went around the lines. But that was enough detail. Last but not least, everyone, look. Okay, so if you didn't see in the newsletter, I took all the designs that we had and I shrunk them down. I think these are like 2.5 inches or something like that, 3 inches maybe. And this is a sampler panel. So if you have the calendar and hadn't gotten started and want to skip to this panel is available on my website, www.nestlingsbyrobin.com. And if you didn't buy the calendar last year, but just love the little designs and have been following along all year, then I encourage you to purchase one and we'll get it out in the mail to you. And over the year, I'm sure you've seen this background. This was a sampler that I did. These blocks are 5-inch, 6-inch blocks maybe. And these had different flowers on them than what we actually did this year. But this is just a great way to take them and throw them all together into a sampler, put some sashing. I did them as 4-way blocks with a small bit of detail in the corner. I just put those little corner triangles on there, 4 together with corner triangles so that this is only in the center. And then you can put them into a layout like that. I really hope you have had fun this year. Thank you so much for coming and stitching along with me. And I really look forward to what you do in the future. If you're not already part of the Facebook group, Robin's Rocking Needles, I invite you to come join us and show us what you're working on in there. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. And stay tuned in the newsletter because we're going to start a 2024 temperature quilt along next year. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.